they calling and saying, yo, Prodigy doesn't want to be a part of the record anymore. So we left Prodigy on the hook. We took his verse off. And I
Power 105 and confirmed Havoc said Prodigy is gay. Talk about that.
Okay.
Also said Prodigy's not coming to the video. Hit him up, drop.
Right.
Prodigy's at that video the next day.
They say every legend leaves clues behind. Tonight, those clues come from a single offhand comment Capone made. We left Prodigy on the hook. At first it sounds like studio banter, but fans with long memories hear something heavier. Was that hook the first tug on a rope that eventually pulled Prodigy clean out of the picture? For years, hip-hop heads chalked the tension between Mobb Deep and Capone-N-Noreaga up to routine neighborhood rivalries. Hard bars, hurt pride, maybe a fistfight or two. Yet once you lay the events end to end, a darker pattern jumps off the page. Tonight we're threading every rumor, every tweet, every jailhouse whisper into one timeline, then asking the question even Queensbridge loyalists avoid. Did N.O.R.E. survive the industry because he kept quiet, or because he helped quiet somebody else? Capone wasn't always side-eyeing N.O.R.E. Back in the mid-1990s, Queens felt like one eternal block party, and Mobb Deep and CNN were the headliners. Street clips and mixtapes floated through bodegas with both crews snarling over the same snares. Nobody confused them for glossy label puppets. They were the borough's certified narrators. Prodigy and Havoc prowled one end of Vernon Boulevard with ice-cold verses about larceny and loss, while Capone and Noreaga stalked the other, bragging that real shooters never brag. Underneath the camaraderie, though, a subtle game of one-upmanship brewed. Who rhymed rawer? Who repped Queensbridge harder? When co-billing gigs turned into crowd-sized competitions, folks whispered a rivalry in the making. The tension lived mostly in side glances and backstage smirks. Until the night words leapt off the page and into court files. Fast forward to 2011 and the silence finally shattered, courtesy of Prodigy's explosive autobiography, My Infamous Life. In print, he alleges Capone gave testimony connected to Havoc's brother, Killer Black, street code's ultimate betrayal. However Capone spins it, the sheer accusation painted him with a giant target. He stormed through radio stations, daring Prodigy to call him a snitch to his face, promising he'd prove otherwise on sight. Fans debated screenshots of paperwork like they were Zapruder frames. Did Capone's statement incriminate anyone or just describe a scene? Meanwhile, hidden beneath the shouting match, an unspoken fear spread. If Prodigy would name Capone in black and white, who else's secrets were waiting on page 112? That dread became gasoline, and N.O.R.E. might have been the one to light the match. But let's not jump ahead. First, we need to see how laughter can double as a loaded gun. Breakfast Club, New York City. Microphones hot, cameras rolling, Charlemagne cracks a joke about dry snitching authors, and N.O.R.E. bursts into the kind of belly laugh that says, I co-sign every word. In seconds, Capone's outrage morphs into a Queensbridge choir. If Prodigy put Capone's name in a book, does that mean anything he wrote was fair game? Overnight, the internet crowned Prodigy Hypocrisy King, and N.O.R.E.'s reputation for rowdy honesty suddenly looked like heroic gatekeeping. To outsiders, it was rap gossip. To insiders, it felt like a green light. Prodigy's protective aura just cracked. And Capone? He told friends N.O.R.E. had an issue with Prodigy that went deeper than sales numbers. Street detectives listened, took notes, and waited for the next explosion. They didn't have to wait long. April 2012 gave hip-hop its first true Twitter thunderstorm. At 1 a.m., Havoc's verified account accused Prodigy of prison hookups, boasted about slapping him at South by Southwest, and promised more receipts. 15 tweets later, Queensbridge looked like TMZ's front page. Hours afterward, Havoc claimed his phone was stolen at a gas station. Except the tweets were sent from the web. Nobody bought the story, especially once an audio clip leaked with Havoc repeating the same allegations. That's when N.O.R.E. jumped onto a call-in show, confirmed the voice was real, and tossed a cryptic tease. The cat'll be out the bag soon. If Prodigy thought the hatchet was buried, he now faced an army of shovel-wielding gravediggers reopening old plots. Viewers wondered, why was N.O.R.E. still piling on if the beef supposedly ended? Or was this deeper than ego? Prodigy seemed to think so. By 2013, he'd turned his interviews into alarm bells, railing against secret societies manipulating the charts, ritual scandals that would make tabloid editors blush, and a government prison music triangle designed to chew up young black men. He spoke of high-ups trading souls for contracts, of ritual sacrifices disguised as random tragedies. The man even warned he wasn't afraid of death if it meant speaking truth. That last claim felt like bravado, until it didn't. June 20th, 2017. Prodigy checks into a Las Vegas hospital for a sickle cell crisis, a routine he'd sadly mastered since childhood. Official story says he choked on a hard-boiled egg in his hospital bed. No medical misstep, no foul play, just a freak accident. The hip-hop community mourned, but conspiracy forums lit up like Times Square. Why did staff leave a patient with a known throat condition unattended? How do you choke on an egg in a ward with cameras and call buttons everywhere? And why wasn't the meal pureed per normal sickle cell diet protocol? When friends revealed Prodigy was drafting a stage musical exposing Illuminati symbolism at the exact time of his death, the internet's doubt hardened into cold suspicion. N.O.R.E. didn't want to hear it. In a 2018 sit-down with Havoc, he waved off conspiracies as YouTube rabbit holes and nudged Havoc to agree. Havoc politely dodged. Viewers noticed N.O.R.E.'s body language, shoulders tense, quick to pivot subjects, like a man guarding more than just a friend's memory. His defenders called it respect for the dead. Cynics called it damage control. They also noticed contracts, talk show deals, Revolt TV partnerships, liquor endorsements, everything the industry dangles for artists who play ball. Was silence a prerequisite for the bag? Or worse, was character assassinating Prodigy the down payment? Present day, 2025. Capone and N.O.R.E. still appear friendly on paper, but insiders whisper Capone no longer answers last-minute feature requests. He moves funny, Capone allegedly tells mutual acquaintances, and I don't vibe with his circle. Translation: distance protects both your spirit and your secrets. Meanwhile, N.O.R.E.'s resume blooms. New podcast studios, sponsors lining up, zero appetite for revisiting Illuminati talk. The contrast is glaring. One man slides quietly out of the spotlight, the other soaks up corporate glow. Viewers can't help but compare that arc to Prodigy's final years. Radio silence from the majors, whispered rumors, sudden death. So where does all this leave us? Three versions of history compete for the throne. One, classic rap beef. Competitiveness fed exaggeration, and coincidences look sinister only in hindsight. Two, personal vendetta. N.O.R.E. felt betrayed by something we'll never fully decode and used his industry cachet to taint Prodigy's name. Three, orchestrated takedown. Powerful hands saw Prodigy's revelations as a threat, used trusted voices like N.O.R.E. to undermine him, then stepped back while fate handled the rest. The evidence is smoke, not fingerprints, but smoke usually means fire somewhere. Maybe the truth hides in the gaps between what men say and what they refuse to say. Capone's casual bombshell on "We left Prodigy on the hook" lands different once you realize hooks can double as snares. N.O.R.E.'s giggle on Breakfast Club sounds different once you consider laughter masks discomfort as easily as disdain. And Prodigy's egg choke story reads different once you remember he predicted the cost of speaking too loudly. Queensbridge taught its sons to survive by any code necessary. Some codes demand silence, some demand honesty, and some, like the unwritten rules of an industry called music, require you to choose carefully which truth you tell. Prodigy chose the loud truth. N.O.R.E. appears to have chosen the quiet one. Capone, he may be choosing late honesty, distancing himself before the gears grind him next. The echoes still ricochet through Queensbridge hallways. Unity turned to betrayal, betrayal to mystery, mystery to funeral hymns, and business carried on. So in a business where loyalty costs and silence pays, ask yourself, who pulled the strings and who got strung up? Drop your theories below because the conversation isn't dead, only the people brave enough to spark it. See you in the comments, and stay tuned. The next tale from the bridge is already writing itself.